Welcome to the Know. I'm Meg Turney.
I'm Ashley Jenkins.
Well, RIP privacy, everyone. It was fun while it lasted, sort of.
I thought so.
The Cybersecurity Information and Sharing Act, which allows corporations to freely share your private information with the government, just got a major step closer to being signed into effect by President Obama.
Thanks, Obama. The omnibus spending bill put together by both parties this week to prevent a shutdown and fund the government through next year has had CISA attached to it, making its enactment pretty much imminent.
Yeah. This is what lawmakers, and also lawmakers love to do. Basically, they get a controversial or their own little pet project, which is maybe a proposal to put laser heads on all dolphins in the world. You know, that's a pet project you could have.
I'd like that project. I would fund that project.
Yeah, I would proudly fund that project.
Attach that shit to a larger bill.
Yes, and then sneak it through a document that's way too insane for anybody to read in a reasonable amount of time, which is what's happening here. The new omnibus bill is filled with pet projects and concessions like this. In addition to giving the government $1.1 trillion to even operate, it's reportedly around 2,009 pages.
A little light reading for your evening.
Yeah.
It's still shorter than Game of Thrones, though.
Yeah.
The bill is expected to get voted quickly through the House and Senate at the end of this week, where it'll then be, more than likely, signed by the president. We all know this because of Schoolhouse Rock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just a bill.
So what do security advocates hate so much about CISA?
Everything.
Pretty much everything. The act has long been accused of leaning toward actual surveillance rather than security, but the newest version of the act that just passed in the Senate by a vote of 74 to 21 in October is even broader in its powers. It also got rid of some of the privacy protections put in place by the opposition in earlier versions.
That sounds good. When it comes to laws like this, broad, what's a bad thing? Currently, corporations are required to scrub personal information when sharing with the government, unless the personal information is pertinent to an investigation or imminent cyber attack.
Oh, I want a cider attack.
I would like a cider attack. It's kind of the holidays. The new version of CISA allows corporations to say, oh, do you think they'll just Lizard Squad or whatever their name is, will just take cider around to people
Hey,
this Christmas?
For the lulz, guys,
I like
send us
it.
cider, but please don't hurt us.
For the moles.
Yes.
The new version of CISA allows corporations to send any and all information straight to the NSA and other government agencies, pretty much ignoring any kind of privacy violation.
This is ostensibly in place so that groups can act quickly to stop a supposed threat, which is another problem with the newest version. Before, all data like this went to Homeland Security, who could then filter it, strip it of all the private information, and disseminate it to the proper law enforcement agencies. Now, Homeland Security can basically be bypassed with all information portals set to go directly to multiple agencies like the NSA, FBI, and even local police.
Although that implies that we trusted Homeland Security to take it all out for us.
Put on the hat.
Yeah.
It's made of foil.
In short, if Pornhub suspects that a hack is coming, they can quickly data dump anything they want and turn it over to the FBI without having to protect your privacy. Why'd you actually have a Pornhub account? Nobody knows, but hey, it's possible. Some people just make accounts for places.
They want to sign people. It's probably signed somebody else up.
For all the comments.
Yes.
Share it on Facebook.
In more realistic scenarios, there are instances like the upcoming threat of PSN and Xbox Live service interruption as threatened by the hacker group Phantom Squad. Ooh.
Is this a new name?
It's like ghost lizards.
Okay.
Who want to shut down both services for the week of Christmas. Why do you hate people having fun?
If this is just a sequel.
With video games. I hate it. How are you supposed to get sick of playing Battlefront if you can't use the PSN for a week, huh?
I really hope we get this figured out before the NX comes out and relies on the cloud to even run games. The newest version of CISA also broadens the definition of the term threat. Before, the act only applied to cases of imminent threats, which has now been downgraded to specific threats. They've also broadened it from covering cyber attacks to any kind of suspected criminal activity, which might only increase pressure from law enforcement agencies to get that data.
Some of you might be saying, hey, maybe it's not completely bad that law enforcement agencies might have more access to online data.
Or you might be saying, if you're not doing anything, you have nothing to hide. I hear that one all the time, and it's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
Just saying.
I want my Pornhub account protected. It's true that law enforcement is typically bad at all things internet, but even the Department of Homeland Security has been pushing back on it.
Then you know that we've got a problem.
Yeah, then you know you're in bed with the wrong person. What happened last night? In response to CISA earlier this year, the Department of Homeland Security said this kind of data would overwhelm law enforcement agencies with information of dubious quality and would also sweep away privacy protection. Cybersecurity is already about trying to find a needle in a haystack. Imagine dumping a barn full of needles on top of it by getting a bunch of useless data about anything and everything. I mean, it could lead to more legitimate threats being overlooked, not pursued.
So about that whole, if you aren't doing anything wrong, you don't have anything to hide sort of thing, when talking about security measures like this, the current form of CISA seems to jettison any pretense about being about security. It just paves the way towards surveillance, and one can only imagine the types of back scratching that could be set up between government agencies and corporations who hold personal information about millions of private citizens, incentivizing them to share more. So yes, even if you're not doing something wrong, is your problem too.
Yeah, remember those ads you get after you Google something? They've caused me to buy so much shit. Just think about what they could do with more information like that. All right, when it comes to cybersecurity and technology, our government is often woefully behind the 8 ball, but they also love to use broad, nebulous laws like this as a catch-all for prosecution. There's the well-known case of Edward Snowden,
Our hero.
Yes, who is being pursued under the 100-year-old Espionage Act that was enacted in 1917 and still references railroads, forts, and telegraphs.
Oh. There's also the infamous Computer Fraud and Abuse Act from 1984, irony, which criminalizes basically any unauthorized access regarding computers. This can technically get you prison time for violating a website's terms of service or logging onto your friend's HBO account to watch Veep, and has been used in the hands of prosecutors to take down people that it can't pin any other charges on. In the case of Matthew Keys, it's being used in an attempt to land 25 years in prison plus $1 million in damages for giving out login credentials to Tribune, which resulted in a stupid headline being live for like 40 minutes before someone discovered it and took it down.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. It's like the movie Hackers, but
It's ridiculous.
real and with less Angelina Jolie boo. Fun fact, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act was passed after 4 minutes of the movie War Games was screened in Congress, sending everyone into a panic.
What?
No word on if popcorn was served or if they just asked everyone to shut off their overly large cell phones before the trailers.
Another fun fact, 11 of those same lawmakers still hold office today. So that's how far we've progressed on that front. Next, they'll start using other Matthew Broderick movies like the 1998 Godzilla and Ferris Bueller's Day Off for future policies.
Is this really how cybersecurity laws should be made? I mean, instead of a focus on greater security and adoption of encryption to ward off cyber attacks, we're instead focusing on surveillance and how to get more information on millions of people who aren't even responsible. And then again, I mean, there are the same people, of course, in office who went after a Colorado representative because he talked about how much he loves League of Legends.
That's a real problem. And why not listen to the experts who know what they're talking about instead of the same guy who got scared by a Matthew Broderick movie into passing a sweeping draconian law? Frankly, many of our lawmakers don't quite get the internet and view it through a lens of fear. CISA has been opposed by Apple, Twitter, Reddit, and a huge coalition of security experts and civil liberty groups. They probably know what they're talking about.
Yeah, there's still hope for debate about the current standing of CISA, but it's looking less certain at this point. Now that it's been included in the omnibus bill, which is likely to fly through the House and Senate, there doesn't really seem to be much opportunity, but there is still debate about whether this belongs in the bill at all, and you can make your voice heard. Contact your elected official and tell them that CISA doesn't belong in the omnibus bill if this is important to you because you use the internet and it's fucking important to you.
No, you can just exercise your rights, fool. You got them.
You got
Fight
them.
for your right to Pornhub.
Please.
I'm sure a few senators care about that one too. Be sure to tell us your thoughts on CISA in the comments or just talk about your favorite Matthew Broderick movies and
one and
what
the
laws
same
we
now.
might get as a result.
Yeah, and as always, to stay up to date on our government's continued ignorance of technology, like this video and subscribe to the net. Who's the guy? Oh, I always confuse him and John Cusack.
Oh,
For
I
like
guess
90s,
they were kind of big.
80s.
They were kind of big around the same time. I confuse just about everyone since I don't know anybody's name.
Taylor Swift is yelling at me. I must go.
Really?
My country needs me.
Hey.